Well, I think we'll probably go ahead and get started because I did have some folks send me a message saying they couldn't join us today. So it will be us. So thank you all so much for your time. We're going to try to keep this short, but we wanted to be able to give you some information around what to expect when volunteering with VBCF, particularly during the season where lots of folks are paying attention to breast cancer. So start off with introductions. I think I haven't met some of you before. My name is Erin Stagletter. I'm the education manager for Virginia Breast Cancer Foundation. I've been here for 8 years now. Mostly I do the scheduling of volunteers when it comes to educational events. And then my colleague Nikki will talk about her role with volunteers.
Hello, everyone. If you haven't met me yet, my name's Nikki Jennings. I'm the Operations and Resource Coordinator here at VBCF. I actually just hit my 4-year anniversary with the foundation, so that was a wonderful occasion. It's been awesome to be involved with this foundation and, do everything I do. I came on part-time as operations, so I do the mailing, I answer the phones, all that good stuff. And then we recently brought me on full-time to take care of our resource coordination program, which we kind of made official. So I will customize our support kits for folks and get them connected to resources, just a little bit of everything. I'm also the one who kind of helps folks, get their educational materials, as I said, and all that good stuff.
So she usually will coordinate folks to when we need help with bundling our materials or need help sewing our comfort pillows, but she'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later on in the presentation. So big question, how do the educational events come to us? So I wanted to show you all our page where folks can request a speaker from VBCF. So first, people can go to our website, go to the Take Action tab, and go down to Request a Speaker. We have 3 different ways folks can request a speaker. Resource table, which is generally just a table with information at a health fair or another kind of event. People walk by, pick up information as they please. Generally, with requesting a speaker, you want someone to give a more formal presentation. And then virtual speaker, obviously that's over Zoom, things like that. Some people have various comfort doing presentations in person versus virtual, so that's why we separate it out. And to show you the kind of information that we collect at the beginning of this process, we get the contact information for the person organizing the event. We get the name of the event, what type of business it is, what type of organization. We do get a lot of churches, but we also get schools and other businesses. And last year, I think I spoke at a construction site. So it really runs the gamut as to who asks us to come and speak. We get the date and the time, location, and the objective of the event. And then things that I found are really important for us to know ahead of time is the location taking place outside? Is there shelter in case of rain, or I'm very fair skinned, so I have to know, do I need to bring a lot of sunscreen before I go to this event? And then, of course, in light of the pandemic, we've had questions about masking, because again, some organizations will have different rules, particularly speaking at senior organizations or senior clubs or senior living facilities. They might have different rules on if they want outside folks to wear masks or not. And then the topic of presentation. So we have our standard breast health basics presentation, which I can chop down to 15 minutes, or we can spend an hour talking about things. And then we have an About Virginia Breast Cancer Foundation, which is more of a focus on the organization, what we do, our history, to maybe get more people involved. And then, of course, a survivor story. So because of these different topics of presentation, it'll help me figure out who should be the person that I ask to attend this event. We also ask questions about what kind of technology they have available if it's a speaker event, because I need to know if we need to bring our projector, if we need to bring a computer. Sometimes things happen, but this helps us to know what resources we have available at the location. And that is that. Let's see. All right, so that leads us into how do we assign volunteers? The most important thing when it comes to assigning volunteers is the location of the event compared to where the volunteer lives. So if you are registered with us through Track It Forward, and I believe most, if not all of you are, you have put your address in there and also what regions of the state you're willing to travel to when it comes to resource tables or giving presentations. So what I can do in the back end of Track It Forward is I can put in what region the event is and just search for those volunteers. So I'm not asking you to go do something that's way outside of your comfort zone physically, because I already know where you're comfortable traveling to. Volunteer background. This is why it's important for me to know when you register as a volunteer if you are a survivor yourself, because then I can put in a request for you to maybe give a survivor story, or if this is something that's close to your heart, maybe you're a caregiver or you have a family member who's been through breast cancer. That way I know where to send folks. Also, some people who have a medical background, and might be more comfortable giving educational presentations on the topic, as opposed to someone who is really committed to the cause, but maybe doesn't feel as comfortable with the detailed information. A resource table would feel more comfortable. The size and length of the event. So this can help us determine how many people we want to invite to be volunteers. So for example, coming up in Richmond next weekend is Pride Fest. This event is 8 hours. We're not going to ask one volunteer to do 8 hours. Another thing that's great about Track It Forward is that folks can sign up for shifts. So you can pick a time that is convenient for you and sign up for it. We do this for these longer events, but most of the events that we get are 2 to 3 hours. Some of these events also are expecting thousands of people. Some are expecting 100. So that also helps us determine how many people we invite at the same time. Because if there's for example, a church health fair, that's a smaller deal for the most part. So one volunteer can usually handle that, especially if they volunteered with us before. However, we're not going to send one volunteer to cover 2,000 people who are expected to attend. That's just a lot. Another thing that we take into account, particularly with these longer events, we try to pair newer volunteers with either more experienced volunteers or staff members, just to help with the first volunteer event with us be more comfortable, so you're not feeling like you're thrown to the wolves. We like to try to schedule people to be with others so they can kind of learn the ropes. And with that, I'll have Nikki talk about what it looks like to set up a resource table for us.
All right. As you all can see in our lovely picture of me at one of our events in the past, we have a really cute table set up. We provide a pink tablecloth for you. We'll basically set you up with everything you need. So that starts with, of course, the table. If they need us to bring a table, we have our own folding table. We also have an easy up, as Erin mentioned, for us fair-skinned folks in case we need some shade. They'll usually will tell us, what they need us to bring. A lot of the places that we've been usually have their own table, but we have it just in case. The other stuff that we'll send you that you can see on the table, just general info about VBCF, including talking points, how to arrange the table, etc. We'll be putting together kind of a paper situation to send with you just to refer to if you need it. We also have bags for easy travel, including suitcases. So, it's nothing too much. We try to make it as easy as possible, like one trip from the car, not like a big production for you. As you can see in the front, we'll usually send a VBCF sign with you as well. And our educational materials, you may not be able to see me very well, but just to kind of give you a preview, we've got brochures with breast health basics. If you haven't seen those already, they also come in Spanish. And then we have a bilingual Know Your Body self-exam card. So we give those out as well. Those are all free. We also have our pink ribbon stickers that go out and all kinds of new tchotchkes we've ordered this year. So keep your eye out for those additional giveaways. And then depending on the size of the event, when we do really big ones, you'll probably be with a staff member, and sometimes we'll bring out a prize wheel that'll have true or false questions. So that's pretty fun when we have that available as well. And then just one more thing, we'll usually bring information about Every Woman's Life, which is the Virginia Department of Health's free mammogram program. So we like to let people know about that in case they're in need as well.
And Nikki, we have kind of a different process too for folks who are volunteering outside of like the greater Richmond area. Generally, we'll send materials to the event organizer ahead of time or to the volunteer themselves, whatever the preference is, so that that they're hopefully they'll have stuff for you when you arrive, and you won't necessarily have to bring things. And with those events that are outside of our greater Richmond and probably greater Roanoke, you won't have to worry about sending stuff back to us. We're going to try to give you things that we'll give you maybe a nicer but disposable tablecloth, so you won't have to worry about sending things back. All right, thanks, Nikki. Some tips and tricks. We have a list of tabling tips that we will send before you attend an event with us. We have some basics like talking points about our support kits, which go from newly diagnosed to caregiver through metastatic and after active treatment. Information about finding a mammogram, which Nikki touched on a bit. We have some information about some recent policy wins that we've had at the state and federal level. So you can talk about the work that VBCF does. We also have some frequently asked questions. One that we get a lot, we get some comments like, oh, I do your walk every year. VBCF only recently started doing a walk. I think what happens is that folks confuse us with Susan G. Komen or the American Cancer Society. So we talk about how we actually aren't connected with any of those national groups. We are a standalone state-based organization only focused on Virginians. And then folks come up to the table and say, oh, I got a lot of cancer in my family. What should I do? So we try to give some tips on how you can encourage the person to speak to their healthcare provider to get on the right care path. A couple things to avoid, obviously, would be giving medical advice. We want to encourage people to talk to their healthcare provider to get information that is specific to them. And also, I will speak for the staff. None of us have medical training. Many of our volunteers do, but they also know the limits of what they're allowed to do when they are out meeting with folks. Another thing is that we try to avoid is forcing people to the table. In doing this for as many years as I have, we get folks who come up to the table and give us their life story and tell us about their own experience with breast cancer or family members' experience with breast cancer, and they want to tell us everything. There are also some people who walk a path even farther away from our table, not just pass us by, but give us a wide berth, because for some reason, the topic is too sensitive for them to discuss. And we don't want to force those folks into a discussion either. So just trying to set up kind of the culture that we like to have for our organization. We want to be welcoming. and informative, but we also want to be comfortable for folks to approach us when they're ready. All right, Nikki, can you talk about what some of our volunteers say about working with us?
Yes, absolutely. So recently I've gathered a couple quotes from some of our volunteers that I thought I'd like to share with you guys, and I'll just read them off just in case the print's a little small on here. So Miss Joyce Easter, she is wonderful. She's been bundling things for us for years and been working with me since I first came on. She said, I like doing volunteer work for VBCF because it makes me feel good. I just have a smile on my face knowing that I will make a difference in someone's life. I know that I am appreciated for all the work that I have done thus far and look forward to doing more in the near future. I like interacting with people also. The assignments that I've been completing help others, not just in October, but all year long. She's a wonderful survivor in our community and just a great example of just keeping involved. And she actually does a lot of DIY at home bundling. So that's an example of just how easy we can make things when we do have materials to bundle. So. And then the next one is from Miss Kimberly T. She's also a survivor and a volunteer. And what she does is she orders our free educational materials, and then she, on her own, distributes them throughout her community. She makes little goodie bags and takes them out to events and just kind of, she's her own little wheelhouse out there spreading awareness in her community. So we definitely consider that a volunteer too, even if you're just ordering educational materials and spreading them out in your community. So what she said, she actually had received a newly diagnosed kit from us, which include our comfort pillows, which I have sitting here next to me. They're all made by volunteers and they're super cute. All of them have different patterns. And so it says, from my pillow to the links and resources, I appreciate VBCF very much and try to pay forward that same attitude. I try to spread awareness and donations for others to know that they're more cared about than they realize, and many people are there to support them. VBCF is amazing. So that's just some top quotes that I could pull for us from recent years.
Thanks, Nikki. And can you tell us a little bit more about how folks can help VBCF all year round and not just in October?
Absolutely. One of our favorite subjects, because obviously we get so busy in October and we want to be there for every single one, which is sometimes we can't. So we try to encourage people, think outside of the box. Like, what can we do to bring awareness all year long? Because after all, breast cancer does not go away after October. So we need everyone's help to just keep up that momentum and keep our name out there and just make sure people know about us all year round. So here's a couple ways that you can kind of get involved. So as I mentioned before, order educational materials and share throughout your community, whether it's at your place of faith, your work, office, clubs, etc. We've even had as far as like a Dallas Cowboys viewing club that brought our materials every week. So very creative ways that happen out there. Take home bundling opportunities like Miss Joyce, and that'll usually be going on in the spring when we order all of our replenishment materials and new tchotchkes and all that for the rest of the year. You can also DIY a fundraiser for VBCF. The way we've recently updated our fundraising page is awesome. We have a little community partners guideline in there that's almost like a little book that gives you ideas of what you can do, ways we can support you, and all that good stuff. So we really love to see people, go the extra mile and get involved in that way as well. Of course, we're always looking for people to share their story with us. Even if it's not, we're not going to take it and post it on Facebook that day, but we're constantly gathering feedback from real people who are on the ground, who have been through it or are going through it. So we can use that in our content and at least inspire other folks, inspire our leaders and representatives with our advocacy, all of the above. So it's very important that if you have a story and you would be comfortable with sharing it with us, we would love to hear from you. The next thing, sow your support. Heart pillows. We recently revamped this program because we had a small group that's been donating heart pillows to us, but we've recently had a big uptick in the amount of support kits that are being ordered from us. Since we've been out kind of marketing our resource coordination program and just with several other efforts, luckily our name is out there more than ever. So we're getting more kit requests more than ever. So we have a cool little kit we can send you if you are a seamstress or if you have a group like a sewing group, and it will give you the pattern. We have little iron-on labels, and then basically the people will just donate the stuffing and the fabric. A lot of people just have, leftover fabric left over, and then they'll either drop them off or mail them to us, and then all of those pillows will go out to someone who's been recently diagnosed, and definitely brings a smile and some comfort to them as well. And the pillows are multifunctional. We call them post-surgery pillows. Basically, if someone has, a biopsy, any type of surgery, it can help protect from the seatbelt. And then also if they're getting chemo, they can tuck it under their arm. So it's also practical as well. Moving on, the last one here, of course, you can be a local advocate. Just reach out to your community members who need support. Get them connected with VBCF. We know that there's a lot of folks out there who don't have support systems, who may not have transportation. So just any way that you can spread the word, let them know we're here, or even just, help them in their needs. We consider that volunteer work as well because it's much needed.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nikki. And with that, that's all we have for you today. If you have any questions, happy to answer them. Or if you think of some later, please feel free to email Nikki or myself. We're happy to help field either questions or maybe other ways that you thought of that you could perhaps volunteer with us. We have a blog that we update we try to do it once a month. So if you have an idea for a blog topic or something like that, love to hear it. Currently, we have over 20 events scheduled for September and October, and that's going to grow. I think the max we've had over those 2 months has been 40. So we are expecting some more events to come in. So we definitely need some help staffing the resource tables. I will say generally our event requests come from the greater Richmond area as well as Hampton Roads. We do get requests from other areas of the state, but it's not as prevalent. We're hoping to change that in the coming years. So if you, for some reason, don't get called to help out with a volunteer event this year, feel free to reach out to us. We can definitely let you know why. But also maybe that means more folks in your community need to know about VBCF. So that's where kind of being an ambassador for us can be really helpful. So with that, thank you all so much. Do you have any questions? All right. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. And we hope to continue to work with you in the future.